It's Elise Stevens, and today it's the first in a series of videos about women in project management. Yay!
Hey.
And Aradana Sharesta is here to talk about our three questions. Hello, Aradana.
Hi, Alice. I'm so glad you give this opportunity to have this video session, the interview session. I'm so happy to share with you.
Well, thank you for being part of the series. Aradana,
Thanks for having me, Alice.
not a problem. Aradana, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Oh, sure. So I am from Nepal and I basically live in Kathmandu. So it's the capital of Nepal, if everyone knows about it. I'm sure like everyone knows about Nepal. So I live in Kathmandu and I work for the IT company as a project manager. So it's been like almost a decade I have been working as IT professionals, being as a project manager. So basically, I have experienced in different domains of the software developments. I started my career as a software developer. However, I eventually moved it to the project management role. So I did work for the banking softwares, with the healthcares, and with the plant and seed breedings companies. So basically, with all those software managements. So this is me. Yeah.
Well, that is fantastic.
Mhm.
Okay. So, Aradana, how do you handle challenges or risky situations in projects?
Okay, so like every project has risks and challenges. Actually, we all face challenges at certain points. Every project have their own types of challenges, and what I learned, it works well as like how to overcome your challenges is like mainly, or like there are several factors like that makes your project challenging. But I would like to highlight a few of them. So I would like to go for the three of the main reasons that I felt and experienced. Like if it could be improved, your project is going to be robust. So basically, what I focus is on avoiding scope creep. So the scope creep means like if your project is having the vague requirements, you're gonna lose your track of your project. So basically, you should work on defining and grooming the well-scoped requirements from your stakeholders, like understanding their requirements as early as possible. And once you hear back from your stakeholders, like, okay, so this is requirement, you try to chunk out into the smaller tasks. And we too, as a practice of like creating the user story in the small chunks. So we basically define the big chunk of work into the smaller chunks, and then we go for defining more details of the scope. And after that, like you can have the very definite scopes, with that having the perfect acceptance criteria what it looks for. So having acceptance criteria in place, and the most important thing is like you need to sign off from your stakeholders by reviewing those all scopes and the acceptance criteria so that your stakeholders can sign off, and you will be basically setting expectation to your stakeholders like what's going to be delivered at the end. So that is one challenge, and this can be overcome in this way, and this really works out. We did practice it several times, and it's really working out. And the second, I would say, like for most of the project can get like must have to have the effective communication. So basically the communication is the key, especially when your project members and stakeholders are scattered in the different location. So if like we have, I work in a multinational company, and we have the team in different location. Like I work from Nepal, I'm working in the US based company, US healthcare based company. So I have half of the teams in the US side, half of the team over here. So like every stakeholder and your clients and stakeholders are on the other side of the country. So it's like basically you have to have your effective communication because you are not meeting them every day on a day-to-day basis. So to overcome those challenges and to refine your projects in a well organized way, what we usually practice is having a regular check-in. So we call it as a regular and daily stand-up meeting. So we actually come up with the time bound and call for the meeting. It should be just 15 minutes meeting. So everyone have to be there, must be like reporting to that meeting. So must show up for the that meeting for the 15 minutes with every team members. And in that meeting, what we basically do is uh, like updating the status of the project. Updating status of the project, what do you mean by it's not like they were reporting to each other, it's basically to understand how your project is doing. So it's like how your project is moving on, what progress it's making, what individuals are doing on. So it's like getting sync up with each team members, and each member will get to know like who is involved in what. So it's basically bind up your project, and it will give you an insight of everyday progress as well. And it's not only the what you are progressing on, it also the opportunity to discuss issues or any impediments your project is facing on day-to-day basis. So that is how we channel our communication to overcome on the daily basis instead of waiting for the last minute call. So we do it on the daily basis so that we can keep an eye of the project, like how our project is doing. So that is one of the thing. And other is like keeping transparency and the visibility to every stakeholders. You being as a project manager, you know like how your project is going, but your stakeholder may not know. And sometimes people get confused, oh I know, and they do not communicate, like they feel like everyone does know about it because you already know about it. So that is not the reality. So you have to understand like it's just you and the team member know, because of the daily standard the team member is also getting sync up with it, and you also know, but your stakeholder may not know like how your progress is going on. So you should be like channel those communication via emails or giving the status report to your stakeholders. Okay, so this is what so far we have done, and this is how our project is moving on. If you have any insight or any inputs or any feedback, please move ahead with giving feedback ahead so that you can tackle those things on regular basis instead like doing over, like moving over projects all over again. So to avoid those things, to avoid those challenges, this really helps out. And the most important part of the communication is I feel like you need to learn how to listen. Is listen is not only like you are hearing, but it's, you listen to understand their problem. So even it's bad or good, it doesn't matter. Like if you know the bad and the good side of your team members, of your project, like give an environment to your team members to be open to it so that they can share their feelings, what they are going through, even though it's bad or good, like give them secure environment so that everyone can feel them like open to bringing up the ideas or any impediments or issues on the table, so that everyone in the team can work together as a team and solve those issues. So that is one of the challenge, like is the communication. And the third part is I'll go to like having unrealistic deadline and overcommitment. So this is the main cause of failures of a project. It really cause a very risky situation for a project, having unrealistic and overcommitments, unrealistic deadlines. So this basically happens when you estimate your work being so aggressively, like you are estimating your work so in a very being very optimistic to it. So you should avoid doing that. You should always understand like there is chances, like any time in your project, uncertainties, your unseen problems, unplanned things may come up. So you should be wise doing that estimation actually. So you should always keep in mind like you are keeping some buffer for all those uncertainties that may come up, or maybe the unplanned things, your resources may move here and there and so on. So keeping a reasonable buffer for the estimation really does help to not get slip your deadline. So actually this is one should be worked as a part of estimation. Other is like the managing dependencies as well. So if you are working in a project, definitely you are not doing all alone. You might be dependent on the other teams, to the other stakeholders, to external and internal. So there are a lot of dependencies could be in your project. So I would say, like in our experience, like in my company, we do have the interdependencies team as well. Like we are dependent on the other team. We need to wait for that team to complete their tasks. Then we need to start on. So this is how we manage the dependencies. So if it has not been managed well, there is chances like your project can get failed and do not meet your deadline. So one thing is like you need to be mindful managing the dependency, any assumption you are making to your project. Like you're making, okay, so this is assumptions, you need to keep track of those assumptions, any dependencies. And also on top of, like, if we see like we're running out of time and we are not, and we may slip our deadlines, so what, as a project manager, like we have the tendency to do the fast tracking. So what exactly the fast tracking means is you try to speed up your project. You will not wait for any of the dependency. You'll say, oh, okay, parallelly we can do it simultaneously, and we'll see like once we come up at sidewise, we can do that. So it is going to speed up your project for sure, but there is chances like doing the fast tracking, there is chances like you may be degrading your qualities because you are rushing through it, and also increasing the rework of your project because there are chances like you can be making a lot of mistakes because you are rushing through it. So that is three of the points I would say, like these main challenges we should like work on this to make our project successful. Yeah, Alice.
Thank you. Okay. All right. Ready for the next question?
Yeah.
Okay. Aradana, what was your path into project management?
So the path for being as a project management professional was I realized the value of people, process, and the technology. So I learned when I get into this profession. So I started my career, as I mentioned in my introduction as well. Like I started my career as a software developer, and um, and then I eventually moved to the different roles and responsibilities. So after software developer, I moved to the business analyst and through the client services and support, and eventually to the project manager role. So being as a project manager is not an easy job. It's for sure not an easy job. I always thought like being as a technical person in my early days, the management job is easy because as technically you need to be more creative, innovative, but but I was wrong. Once I took this role, I came to realize, what this position holds. Definitely, like it holds different skill set than the developer role. So but what you need to learn is the people skill. Like you need to work towards grooming your people skill, be responsive, be resilient to it. So you need to be a motivator of your team, working as a catalyst to bring energy and momentum for your project. For me, this transition actually helps me to grow as a person. I really grow as a person after holding this role. So it really helped me to grow as a person, knowing all those relationships and with the people and everything. So this is the one thing, like I will focus on the people. I did like during this transition, I understand the relationship value of the relationship and the bond because everything starts with the people. And then the process is there. You have to have the process and the proper guidelines for being as a project professionals and management professionals. It's better to have the project management framework that can help you to that can help you to overcome all those day-to-day project management job streamlined. So what I mean by the project management framework is like there are different types of framework in the market. So it's better to have, like, I get to learn being as a professional, like, okay, so doing things in the traditional way is not as efficient as like your framework is giving you. So you need to have the basic framework and the guidelines that really help you to keep aligned to your project and making this streamlined to your project, like what needs to be done, because sometimes we hold we lose our pathway. So this is what I realized, like having framework really helps. And And for me, like I started learning Agile and the Scrum in the beginning of my project management roles. I started my career as a project manager, being as a Scrum Master actually, and then later on, as is looking after the Scrum teams, the smallest Scrum teams. Then I moved to the project management roles, and then I started to work into the different teams. So I basically manages three different teams, and one team holds 12 members in a team. So it's like that framework really gives you the efficiency to work in a different team, so that like you will get to know like how if everyone will be disciplined to your framework, like okay, this is how our practice is and this is what to be followed. So so having the framework really helps me out to understand this project management, and helps the project run smoothly and efficiently. So, and the other part is like knowing the technology as well. So technology, what I mean by the technology is like having the tools that can help to uh, get your data, like the project management data, and having keep your project neat and organized and tidy. So, so what is like that? What does it mean by the tools and the technology of the project management? So I'm talking about like there are various tools and technology there in the market, like, and we do use as a Trello and Target Process and Jira as a project management tools. It really helps out to keep your project organized, tidy, and the most important thing is like you don't have to hassle here and there to the team members. If something is like uh, like your input is correct, then you will have the better insight of your project at a single glance. So that is how like every team members can also have like projecting of their things, predicting things in a better way, like who is doing what. You can know the progress of your project every day. So but you need to be mindful in the things like how you are putting data into that tools, so that it can have the better and correct insight of the project what actually going on. So like I said, like said, like if you input garbage, then definitely you are going to have the garbage output. So garbage input is garbage output. So you should be mindful like how your team should be directed in the way, should be mentored in the way like they are keeping correct data, they are making the progress of the like what tasks they are doing. So it's basically like the from start to the closing of your tasks, individual tasks your team members are assigned. So so that is what I learned from I learn in this journey of the project management professional.
What are the qualities of a great project manager?
Okay, so there are several qualities project manager must have to have. So in my experience, what I think is I would like to highlight the top 5 qualities what I believe a project manager must have to have. So in my experience, what I think is like project manager must have courage and fearless, So project manager must be courageous. So courageous in a sense like they should take able to take critical decisions. Sometimes I see like this, some of the project managers, they do not agree with the things, like they do not agree with the ideas, but to avoid conflicts and tough situation, I would say tough situation, they will go along with unsatisfactory things. So sometimes you need to take a stand for that, like what you believe is good for you and for your team and for a project, you should take a stand for that. So sometimes it will be like in a situation, you will be like several times I've been to that situation, like no one agrees with me, but I strongly believe like this is going to be work out. You need to have that courage. You need to be fearless. You need to stand out from your crowd, and then you have to take, okay, so I'm taking this bold decision. I know this is going to be work out. I will be making this decision, and then we'll see. So sometimes, like if you strongly believe in it, you have to take that stand. You need to have that courage. And I know it's difficult, but believe me, it's going to worth at the end. Like it's really worth it once it happens, and it turns out good. Like and you will feel like, oh, I made it. So that is initially like it's hard. Like people want to be in the comfort zone. So sometimes like if you have to move to out of the comfort zone, like thinking in a very innovative way, people do not want to take those all tortures related to that. So they want to try to be on safe side. So I don't think like being as a project manager you have to be courageous, because you need to implement the new ideas, new creations, new innovations. So that is what it's not like following all those traditional methods over and over again. You need to be innovative. So that is what I believe being as a project manager, it's you, and you have to take that action. The other is like proactive. So, proactive, it means like you need to forecast things ahead before it get worst. So sometimes like I feel like a few of the project managers, they will be in silos from the beginning. Once the things get worst, they will get started panic. Oh, okay, so this doesn't work like the way you are expecting, because you are not checking in. You are not looking into your status, and that is the reason. At like if you have the limited time, it may or may not, you may or may not able to correct it. So that is what the proactiveness is very major quality I can see. As a project manager, you have to have this quality. So analyze things ahead, plan things ahead to avoid any hassles that may come at the last minute. So and and the most important things, like you will be saving your project from the last minute disaster. So so that is what I believe. And the other is like number three, I would say like the lead by an example. Sometimes I see like the people will keep on talking, and they will not doing what they are talking. So what I think is you should be walking your talk. Be genuine. Be genuine motivated to your team, because your team is watching you. What you are doing, it's all because you are setting an example to your team. It's not like the other person you are. You are an important person for your team. So you must be doing what you will be believing, what you are saying. You must have to implement on yourself rather than acting to the others. So first be the change you want to see in the others. So that is what I believe. And get involved with the team instead of directing or instructing to the team members, because ultimately the involvement is the thing that can increase your engagement of your team member. So it will bring all your team members together. When you get involved, get your hands dirty with your team members. Do not sit aside and look from far like, okay, my team is doing good or not. Get involved into it. Get your hands dirty, ready to get your hands dirty on this one. So that is number three. And number four, I would say like, do not play blame game. So what I mean by this is like, you should not attack people. You should attack problem. You are not here to attacking people. If something goes wrong, you are not blaming. You should not blame people for that. So you should, rather than, you should focus on how that problem is caused, how you are going to solve that problem. So you should mainly focus on the problem part rather than blaming each other in the team and bringing all those clashes and the conflicts within the team. So that is what is the most important role, I think, in being as a team. A good player, good team player, you need to have like this attitude. You should not blaming any other for any mistakes or anything. So it's like everyone is equally responsible for what we are doing. It's equally like achievement is equally the same as the mistakes as well. So we should give sense to that, have such type of attitude being as a project manager. And lastly is be empathetic. So this is very important to me. Very important to me. So what I believe, like being as a project manager, you should be empathetic. I always instead like you should, being as project manager, you should make your team feel, make your team understand like they have been cared for. And you should always be grateful to your team members, like how their work is contributing to the teams. You should thank them, like what they are making contribution, what their work is going to impact for the people or the business. And also equally understand their feeling, like what they are going through. Sometimes like people have their ups and downs. So you should be like understand the pros, understand the people. And what I mean is like, if you, like someone said that, someone have said like, if you don't understand your people, you are not going to understand your project. So first step is like you have to understand your people. Once you understand your people, once you gain trust of your people, believe me, your project is going to run smoothly because you will have fun together. Like you know, like you understand each other. So what I would say, like be human first, and then take the other roles. Either it's a project manager or you're an individual contributor or anything. So after all, we all work for our well-beings, and that is something we all need to take care on those. Thanks.
Well, thank